Welcome everyone on planet Earth and beyond to the 10th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. It's Tuesday, October 17th, 2017, and we're ready to begin another session of this particular teaching brought to you on each Tuesday for the last 9 sessions plus this one. And I think we have Caroline. My name's Rick Crammond as your host today. I think we have Caroline available on the international lines here, and perhaps Mr. Keshe as well. I'm not sure if he's also available there today. Hello, Caroline. Are you ready to begin today's session?
Yes, Rick. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone who's coming to join the knowledge seekers in the search and the work and the effort and the support and the sharing how to work on the path of achieving world peace, to create the path of understanding. I think Mr. Keshe will join us later on, most probably this afternoon. For some people, it will be morning, as I heard. I hope your coffees are ready, your cup of tea is ready, and a nice comfortable chair. And I know I've sent some information to Rick, which will pop up later on when we bring more worldwide information. As I just informed Rick and Vince and Flint, I said I'm not aware of the news because I simply don't have television. When something needs to catch my attention, as we say, it appears somewhere, or through a newspaper, or through Messenger, or somebody is so kind to send me a message, or it appears freely on a social network and I just happen to be there to have or take notice of it. The most important thing is that we all understand where and how and what is understanding of totality. And we had a meeting in the Universal Council. They're trying to come and arrange and create so much support for whoever and wherever people are in need. They start working to delegate teams, volunteers, which are coming forward. So they're all busy bees, as we say, and you can see in the background the messages and the posts go back and forth with more information, and people start, funny enough, coming from different parts, but in the same language, and they start uniting. So it's like they have received a message, but not a written message. They have received like a call through a different channel, because they are appearing, they are coming to put their shoulders to carry more part or different parts or different knowledge or different, as we say, gifts to support so many more. It is beautiful how you see this start unfolding. And it didn't come only through, because I noticed the way the messages are written, that they just come out of nowhere with the message which links up to what is going on now. What we are requesting for is appearing. So people are getting the message through, as we say, the soul, on soul level. And now the connecting process, which who is expert in what and who can add something to something and somewhere else with whatever they have in their availability. I even had people coming from the States and saying, wherever it's needed, I will be there. And it is beautiful that souls start getting up, people start moving, to really put their shoulders underneath. And there are different positions on Earth, as I said before, which are going through a short period, but a severe period. But I think it's also time for us to start, as I mentioned last time, to start putting our shoulders on the very long term where the disturbance is going on. Not only just to jump because it gets in the news or it gets, or people are there at the point. Why can't we start listening to the voices which have no voice? We hear them, but because they don't come into the front through the media or through publicity or through radio channels, but really to open our heart to listen to the ones who have no voice and to see where we can start opening the doors towards them too. And I would like people as knowledge seekers, which are here present from all the corners of the world, in different languages. If you understand English, but you can't maybe converse so well in English, call up for somebody in the audience or one of our teams to translate the message for you. You can even write your message in your language. One of the teams will pick it up, and then we can bring it in the translation of the English to make sure it can be understood, that we all receive your message. Because each person with his own message is important. If you're not capable of understanding the language so fluent, do not feel excluded. We have 18 different languages, and we can always support somewhere someone. You lost me?
Um,
Did you?
Nope, we heard you.
Okay. That's good because I heard the cling. So I thought maybe I got kicked out without noticing it.
Maybe just a minute or two, but I think you deliberately stopped there. So, yeah, you're good.
Okay. Do you see anybody posting anything in the background? Flint, Vince, or Rick? Because it's a call to everyone. It's not just because people are in that position or this position that they are privileged. No, everybody is important and everybody can speak and everybody can come forward and share what their need is so that we can start getting an overview how and where we can support. Does anyone of the councils or in the core team or the Earth Council have a message today that they can share with us? Are people still walking in?
Well, I know for myself, personally, I have concerns about the situation in Northern California, specifically with the fires burning there, which are still burning. Hopefully, with the rains that are coming today, most of that will be under control. But it's been a very traumatic time. It's probably the greatest fires they've ever had in that area. With some of the greatest loss of life as well. But mainly it's the displacement of people, the complete burning down of some towns in the area, as well as massive areas of people's homes and cars and other things that were just totally lost from this devastation. Now, the point was brought up before this workshop that yes, and this happens in other places of the world as well, which is true. We've had fires in Portugal and Spain, for example, and other places, and not to mention the floods and the hurricanes and other devastation around the world. And then if we get into wars, that's a whole other thing. But the one in Northern California touched me personally because I have a lot of friends in that area that are very dear to me. And fortunately, they've seemed to have missed the brunt of the fires, which they can see burning, literally see burning all around them, but they are in the middle of it and are somehow protected, you might say. So this is an issue. It's how do we approach that in maybe with a new viewpoint of the situation? Vince brought up the idea that this is not really devastation in a way, this burning of the forests and whatnot. It's more of a rejuvenation. It's actually a natural process that mankind has been trying to suppress, especially since the Second World War around 1945, when different kinds of fire suppression equipment and airplanes and using fire retardant and so on has become a popular thing. And of course, they're trying to preserve the value of the forests so they can make more money from cutting the trees of the forests and so on. And it's also for protection of populations. But this is an issue with our modern world because of the way we build up our cities and the way we take care of our forests. So we can expect to see more of this kind of thing in the future, especially as the climate changes and whatnot. But how do we approach it? How do we look at it from more of a soul-based perspective, or try to take a greater point of view of the situation? How can we be of assistance? How can we be of service in this situation? And more than just getting directly involved and drop shipping supplies and that kind of thing, but how do we approach that, the whole concept? One might say, if we were in space, how would we look at it if we had a sudden outbreak or some sort of calamity that we had to approach? Okay, anyway, I might have gotten a little far afield there. If you want to take over, Caroline, that's just one observation and one opinion on the world stage today. There are many more, of course. Well, who else has something to say about something they'd like to bring up today for this particular workshop?
Is there anyone? Yes. Yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Paul from Togo.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
I'm fine. So I come with one case from Togo that we will need the support of every single soul in this planet. We are getting now the peace trouble by the politician, trouble by the, what I can say, those who want to take or who want to be in control of materialistic riches. We have some situations starting now from 1 month and a half, and this situation is going more and more worse, and we need to bring our support to establish this peace for some area in Togo. So what happened really is that population have their needs, and the need of population was to be let know to the government what they want. And when the population started this process, the politician enter insights, and those country and those power man enter insights, and then now manipulate the population for their own interests. And the situation we have starts from the zone of Muslim. Some smaller place from Togo, we call it Sokode, Mangwe, and Buffalo. It is a very small place, but there is some brothers, Muslim there, who don't understand the really problem of the wish of all population in Togo. The wish of the population is that to get the better life, the better condition for life. And there is some structure that government also bring, especially the tax, the new tax system the government bring, which is like some kind of poison for the population, because with this, very difficult for the businessman to be able to survive because the tax is very high. This is one case that population need really that the life become more better. And then from that we have some hands from exterior country who want to take the riches of the country and try to manipulate some politician leader, and this politician leader go ahead of the movement of population and then start the real manipulation of population, and the population start themselves fighting with the army. Themselves starts the population themselves starts broken and burning some edifice, public edifice, and a lot of things. So they are killing also the military and brothers and sisters, and they also attack them. To them. This worse and worse. And yesterday night we come in some situation very, very bad because they have almost burned all one towns. And this the action of the population. Sorry for disturbing. So all the bank and those public edifices, the council of armies, and a lot of things was burned yesterday night. And this need to stop. We need to stabilize this, and we need to bring peace for this country, very small country, and the parts where the movement starts burning is very, very small, very small. So the wish of all staff of KF Foundation Togo is to stop and bring peace for all country, for all area in Togo to be able to join to the process of one planet, one race, one nation. So we request the support of every single soul in this planet to stop this. You just support us to be able to absorb this situation, to be able to start, let people take consequence. From our side, we start now some kind of action here as the staff of KF Foundation Togo. We start the message, we start sending the message to all parts. Our first action was to understand why this population go out. And we have make our research independently out of what the media is saying. We go directly to ask the population their needs, what is their problem. And we see that the most important is the wish, the better condition for life. And those we have constated that they are just being manipulated because themselves they don't know what they are looking for. And those also are dreaming because politician leader promised them to bring them in exterior country like European country when they will become presidents. So we have understand this situation and the real cause of these movements. And then we start now to the resolution of these conflicts theoretically. So we have started what you call the process of resolution of this conflict. And then we have a lot of kind of meeting, kind of sensibilization for all parts, government, opposition, population, and the rest. So this, our action is going directly to these four parts: population, government, opposition, and the rest. So the rest is the leader of opposition also, and those. So we start today to send to all of them the message of sensibilization, to let government, to let opposition, to let population know the real needs of our population, the real need of everyone living in Togo. So the next step will be now to, when the population will be aware of their real need, that they are manipulated. So when they start being aware, we go to the next step. The next step will be now to sit down together, all parts, government, opposition, population, and the rest, to discuss about how to maintain and bring peace. And then from there, we will take also some action. And the next step will be our action with plasma technology in the different zone, to be able to stabilize the emotion of everyone. So this is the process we have started as staff of Keshe Foundation Togo to bring back the peace, to maintain the peace, to sensibilize everyone to keep the peace, because I need peace, my brother needs peace, my friend needs peace, my family needs peace, my village needs peace, my town needs peace, my country needs peace. And it is the same for the rest of the population, because without peace, nothing is possible. So we need your support. We need your energy to stabilize this situation. Thank you.
I am present.
I am present for your wish, Paul.
I am present.
I am present, Paul.
I am present.
And I'm
This
present.
is a beautiful action, Paul, in what you've done. In many ways, you have taken the leadership. Not only the language you represent, but the new way. Not only being what we call in English without prejudice, but being man of peace. This is the solution. I don't think we could find any better solution than what you've done and what you're approaching. It is fantastic to see so fast the council has been put to the test and the way you have responded. I'm aware of the situation in Togo, like many of other members of the council. You have, as a member of the Earth Council, you have full support from us. I understand how these provocations starts, the reason behind it, and destabilizing Africa through religion is one of the latest steps. So the way you have approached it is beautiful. In so many ways, you approach it as a mature member of the council, and in either way we can support. Even if you want to organize a peace council with the heads of the army and with the opposition, that Universal Council will come in to be as a mediator. The Earth Council member, which is Alex for Africa, and the rest of the members of the Earth Council and Universal Council will attend this meeting. I know you have a high connection with the head of the militaries, as you and I have spoken to them. Call in a peace meeting with the Keshe Foundation or Universal Council. And as the tradition is in Africa, usually the white man is listened to, a foreigner is listened to, an outsider is listened to, and maybe we have come to be tested very quickly at the outset. My line of thinking, being involved with negotiation in peace, is exactly what you've done. We have a lot to lose and none of us can lose. And this is exactly what you've done for your country, for your nation. If you take the next step to invite the council, the opposition, both sides, into a remote, the usual way to do it, the best way is pick up a neutral ground from both sides and organize a meeting with the heads on both sides very rapidly. whatever it might cost, the foundation will support. Organize a hall, what do you call it, a function room, where it's not luxurious, because whenever negotiation done in public, in glare of press, has failed because they are trying to impress. Take a prestigious, whatever available, call a meeting between the council and the leaders or oppositions, usually second in command, usually attend the first line of meeting till they get confidence that the heads will follow to attend. So my advice to you is you have brought the solution, you haven't brought the problem. You have solved the problem 80% in so many ways. It is in what you have done, in understanding it, because it's your country. I've read your message to me. I've read your messages outside, and you have found the 100% the correct way. Understanding the problem for both sides, and then seeing how much is to be lost by us with what we are burned out, what is happening. You got to realize, I can go into detail how these things done, how is insight. These kind of violence is incited, is not by whatever. People are paid to do this because it has a lot of other things for them which they are looking for. It's not just the power. It's the conflict between the one line of belief to the others, because then arm can be sold. There is a huge push, as you have seen and also read in your writing, to destabilize Africa, destabilize East Asia. This is a plan for next 5 years, because you got to understand one of the highest growth rate in the world at the moment, 7-8%, sits in Africa. Many of African nations are becoming rich. 7% growth, it means capital investment double every 7 years. And it means the nation have gathered finances, means compared to other part of the world, it's not there, but doubled its world asset in past 6 years. In some nations in 5.5 years. Now there is an intention to create instability throughout Africa, and this is why I opened the Ghana and then South Africa, and we're going to other African nations to be there when it's need to be. And you are there as Keshe Foundation Togo, as a member of the Universal Council, and we are there to create stability. What can we give to the nation? We are prepared to deliver in exchange for them to have peace. Approach it the way you are, you're 100% correct. Organize a full meeting between both sides. Whatever it costs, the foundation will meet. Bring negotiation like this has to be done not behind closed doors, but in open negotiation, but no one knows where it is. In a way that you organize it in a town, both sides agree, you attend, press can be there or not, is irrelevant, but try to use, as you said, what we have to lose as a nation. Taxes in Africa touches very few Africans. Mainly in rural areas, mainly not many work in big offices the way the Europeans are, but everything else is European set styles. Now, these things are used to create mayhem, and you are in the right position. And even if it needs be, I'll come to Togo. I said, I've done negotiation in peace talk. I sit down and negotiate on behalf of you as a Keshe Foundation Togo. And the foundation will meet all the costs. You brought the solution on an international level, and the way you've done it is 100% correct. Understanding the problem, finding what is the root of it, and now it needs to be taught. Let's talk. Peace needs a lot of courage. Peacemaking needs men of peace, and the foundation is the man of peace. Go ahead, work very fast. You have maybe 2 to 5 days, maybe a week, 10 days. Get to the heads of both sides. You know the head of the army. You and I have spoken to them. You know the other side. Call a peace talk. I'll fly in straight away within the next 48 hours if need be. But it has to be that they understood, because there's a lot of money involved in the background. If they see the money taken, is nothing compared to be lost. Everything stops. And get both sides to sign the peace treaty. First thing you pass to both sides is, this is the condition we are coming in. World Peace Treaty on the flag of the nation. Printed on the flag of nation and distributed across. Wherever there is a problem, Keshe Foundation Togo, get it done. And give it to the leaders. This is the condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for your support, and thank
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you, Mr. Keshe, but we can't hear Paul right now.
All right.
Can you try again, Paul?
Yes, I can hear you. So I say thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, everyone, for your support. We will do our better, and we will come to you very soon.
Fine, cool, with a cool head. The only way you have to understand is you understand both cultures of both sides, and at the same time you have to disarm. When you give them peace treaty, you have to allow them to understand what is to come, what is more beneficial, and what they have to lose as a nation. One of the first things these people are trained to do is to burn. You have to explain to them, you are burning not a building, you're burning a national asset. This is something they never tell people who start this kind of work, and that is, what you destroy is the investment of the nation. Unless you're a foreigner, you don't belong to the country, you don't belong to the continent, you don't belong to the human race. You're burning nation's asset. And when you see burning on this scale of job, is 100% sponsored. It's a sponsored job. We know how it works. I've been involved in monitoring these things for some 15 years, 20 years. And when you see burning in this scale, is a sponsored violence. So the first thing is to let people understand. You have the means, you have the ways, you have the leaders, that your people are destroying our assets, our nations, and you're part of the nation. Once they realize this, everything stops, negotiation starts. Most of the time, people who go in this rampage burning, as you mentioned and you said it is done, this is a sponsor, is paid by somebody to do it. And I bet you one thing, 99% is paid by Vatican. Not 100%, 99% is paid to look, but is done by the others. We have become very wise into these things in the border politics. We understand the pattern which is coming up. It's always Muslims, it's always against Christians, and it's always against the nation. It's for you as a member of the council to make sure people understand you're not burning neighbor's house, you're not burning the offices of the government, you're not burning the police station, you're burning your own national asset. Then you have to work for it, double to pay what is already here. And then it all stops. If you can get into mass media, people have to understand this. If you can get into the opposition heads, ask your people to stop because they're not burning other people's, they're burning our assets, our nation's assets, and it stops very rapidly. Fire, blood, and fear has been the cause of, and most of the thing which has been used around the world to do. I always say the 3 F's have taken over the world: the faith, the fear, and the fire. You use the faith to create fire. Through it, you create fear and you control. Let people know, doesn't matter just in Togo or anywhere else, that these things destroys national asset. If you are a real national and you're thinking about taxation, whatever, now we have to pay more taxes to build this. Now we have to pay more to build what you have destroyed. We hear Rick is speaking about the fires in America. Burned, government has to pay. Government money comes from our work. Try to explain to people, peace comes through understanding. And people have to understand, by damaging, burning, whatever it says, you burn this house, you burn a police station. A police station has to be made even if you become into government. Then who's going to pay for it? You and your children again to build this. A fool shoots himself in the foot and hopes to win in the marathon, as I always say. First thing in these things is to explain to people. 2 things has to stop majority of the time. Press to be present, and people understand that they are destroying their own asset. Give the peace treaty, throw the as many as peace treaties you can, and spread around town, in the city, wherever the problem are. People will calm down. With it, put your soul, and you carry the soul of the members of the councils. You will see the result. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And I have to confirm that one part they have burned yesterday night around 1 o'clock in the night, which is Agwe. I go there 5 o'clock to see what happened there, and I try to get contact with the person who was burning, and I get confirmation and information that yesterday someone go and give to the people like 100 euro to person, give them drugs and promise them again a lot of things, and ask them to go and burn the night of yesterday public edifice. And this was done. So just to confirm that there was paying to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Caroline, are you still on the line there?
No, she's not.
Okay.
She's away for a while. The other members of the council have to start taking charge of these meetings. It's not Caroline anymore, or you, Rick, or me, or a few people. Togo is a French-speaking nation, am I correct? It's part of the French colony.
Yes, Mr. Keshe.
What is the representative of Africa? If Alex is online, or we can call him online, what is his decision? What is the position of the French-speaking member of the council? You can address them in French. Both speak fluent French. Do we have the...
Thank you.
I see Alex in the list.
Bonsoir.
Address it in French to your people, and the wishes will be done.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I will talk in French. Bonsoir et bonjour à tout le monde. Je venais d'exposer notre souhait en tant que Keshe Fondation locale Togo pour la situation socio-politique que nous traversons actuellement. La situation socio-politique qui a débuté par des mouvements populaires et qui va jusqu'à la perte des vies humaines, qui va jusqu'à l'incendie des édifices publics, qui va jusqu'au dénigrement et jusqu'à la perte des vues des agents de sécurité et de l'armée, est une situation qui n'arrange guère aucune personne, aucun habitant sur le territoire togolais, ni les étrangers, ni les autochtones. Et cette situation doit être rapidement comprise et arrangée par nous tous, Togolais qui partageons la même âme de notre chère nation, le Togo. Le Togo fut depuis longtemps une nation de paix. Et tous les étrangers ont toujours trouvé où il faut se cacher, où est-ce qu'il faut se cacher. Le Togo a toujours offert l'hospitalité à toutes les personnes qui désirent vivre au Togo. Mais de nos jours, nous traversons depuis 1 mois et demi une situation très instable et très inquiétante pour tout le monde. La paix est une condition et garantit la vie pour tous. Et force est de constater que certaines personnes de notre nation, le Togo, ont commencé par détruire notre nation. Or, ils oublient qu'en commençant par détruire cette nation, c'est eux-mêmes qu'ils ont commencé par détruire. Car lorsqu'on brûle les édifices publics, nous allons commencer par travailler de plus en plus dur pour pouvoir reconstruire, comme M. Keshe vient de le dire, notre nation, le Togo. Pour ce, nous appelons en tant que le CA de la Fondation pour la paix à tous les fils et filles du pays. La paix, nous en avons besoin. Nous avons besoin de la paix pour nous-mêmes. Nous avons besoin de la paix pour nos frères. Nous avons besoin de la paix pour nos familles. Nous avons besoin de la paix pour notre nation tout entière et nous avons besoin de la paix pour le reste de l'humanité. À quoi bon de créer une situation qui ne range guère personne? Voulons-nous tous être réfugiés
et où. Pour ce, nous appelons à la conscience de toutes les Togolaises et de tous les Togolais pour que, à partir d'aujourd'hui, que fils et filles de ce pays s'asseyent pour mieux comprendre ce qui ne va pas et qu'on puisse réellement faire comprendre au gouvernement ce dont on a besoin afin de pouvoir avancer. Nous avons pris du recul. Nous avons regardé avec un œil extérieur tout ce qui se passait. Nous avons essayé de faire nos propres enquêtes. Nous avons été en contact avec ceux qui brûlent et ceux qui sont sur le terrain en train de mener des actions pareilles. Nous avons tous vu ce qui a été fait. Nos frères et sœurs qui ont perdu leur vie. D'autres qui furent manipulés et qui, au jour d'aujourd'hui, se retrouvent en prison, laissant leurs enfants et leurs femmes sans quoi manger, sans aucun avenir, salissant leur nom et salissant leur lignée. Nous appelons à tous de prendre conscience que lorsque nous portons une main venant autrui, cette main nous serait bien retournée. Pour ce, nous avons un message conçu par le CA de KF Fondation Togo pour vous. Je vais vous la lire. C'est ce message que nous avons envoyé à tous les gouvernants, les leaders de l'opposition, la population, la société civile et le reste qui sont impliqués dans la résolution de ce conflit. Fils, filles et filles du Togo, lors de l'humanité. Ma sœur togolaise, mon frère togolais, autorité togolaise, opposition togolaise, société civile togolaise, hommes et femmes de bonne volonté. Vas-tu brûler mon pays à cause des erreurs de l'OTR et des hommes? Vas-tu brûler mon pays pour assouvir ta soif de vengeance et satisfaire les desseins inavoués de la soif de pouvoir de l'homme? Vas-tu brûler la terre de nos aïeux qui te regardent et te jugeront? Vas-tu détruire l'héritage de tes enfants? Vas-tu passer au feu les efforts que tes pères ont consentis pour notre indépendance et notre suivi? Vas-tu s'opposer radicalement sans écouter ou suivre une opposition destructrice sans lendemain pour toi? Vas-tu brûler mon pays et te retrouver sans toi? Le moment est venu pour toi de choisir la lumière ou les ténèbres, l'amour ou la haine, la paix ou la guerre, Dieu ou le diable. Ô Seigneur, notre pays est dans l'impasse. Notre cher Togo est unique au monde. Une terre libre et prospère vers laquelle notre Créateur nous a tous choisis et nous a conduits pour y habiter en harmonie selon sa volonté. Il nous a choisis des rois, des chefs, des présidents pour nous diriger selon sa volonté. Depuis l'époque des rois, celle de l'occupation allemande, suivie du mandat de la France, puis notre indépendance sous haute surveillance, Seigneur, nous n'avons pas fait ta volonté. À ce jour, force est de constater que cette terre où coule encore du lait et miel, cette terre qui nous a été promise et offerte par Dieu, lui qui nous a déplacé l'horizon d'hiver pour venir y habiter selon sa loi, est en plein désarroi. Avons-nous fait sa volonté? Nos rois ont-ils fait sa volonté? Nos présidents ont-ils fait sa volonté ou celle de l'envahisseur qui a souillé et corrompu les enfants de Dieu que nous sommes? le cri de détresse est un ventre affamé qui est un cri d'un fils qui entreprend et qui voit des efforts bafoués, anéantis par des systèmes bâtis de toutes pièces qui ne tiennent pas compte de sa réalité. Son nom, il s'appelle erreur de OTR. C'est le nœud de la détresse de tout entrepreneur togolais. Au lieu de voir son grenier remplir de provisions, il puise plutôt son stock pour donner à l'organe et se voit sans revenu, consommation plus épargne. Voire, il se trouve dans l'incapacité de créer de la richesse et s'interroge sur comment créer sa propre recette. Erreur OTR, qui es-tu? D'où viens-tu? Sans tenir compte de nos réalités en nous conduisant dans la misère totale. Le pouvoir en place a introduit sur notre terre un démon nommé OTR sans la moindre explication à son peuple. C'est une des raisons principales de la crise que connaît mon pays, le Togo. L'entrepreneuriat est bloqué par des erreurs de OTR qui a conçu dans sa plateforme de gestion des principes figés dont on ne sait venant d'où, imposant des montants obligatoires catégorisés qui a ruiné plus d'un valeureux commerçant artisan togolais. L'opposition, au lieu de jouer son rôle, veut surfer sur le mécontentement des masses pour déstabiliser le pouvoir. Elle utilise tout ce qui peut irriter notre Créateur pour nous livrer aux forces des ténèbres. La foule entre le marteau et l'enclume suit sans capacité de discernement comme un aveugle dans la nuit noire. Et pourtant, la solution est toute simple et est devant nous. Pourquoi ne pas nous repentir sincèrement? Pourquoi ne revenons-nous pas au Créateur qui nous aime tant? La haine détruit le monde et l'humanité, pendant que l'amour unit le monde et l'humanité. Oui, ma soeur, mon frère togolais, le moment est venu pour toi de choisir ton camp. La lumière ou les ténèbres, la paix ou la guerre, l'amour ou la haine, Dieu ou les ténèbres. Moi, j'ai choisi l'amour, la lumière, Dieu miséricorde, Dieu pour le Togo. Et toi, que chacun fasse sa part et apporte sa pierre à la construction de la paix. Togolaise, ma soeur, Togolais, mon frère, moi j'ai choisi la paix, moi j'ai choisi la lumière, moi j'ai choisi la construction. Moi j'ai choisi le royaume de Dieu. Et toi, ma soeur togolaise, et toi, mon frère togolais, réponds-moi avec sincérité. Après ta présence, transmets à tous mes frères et sœurs qui te sont chers. Après, traduis cet appel inspiré par le Créateur à tous mes frères et sœurs togolais qui ne savent pas lire en français. Le pays t'appelle, fais ta part, Togolais, viens, bâtissons la cité. This is the first message we have sent to all parts, governments, opposition, and the rest population and the rest of organization. So we are asked everyone to translate this in the local language and explain this message to everyone around him to be able to make them man of peace. So we have posted on WhatsApp, Facebook, and we will also give this directly to all persons we see around us. Thank you.
Do we have anything from the Universal Council member or the Earth Council member for Africa or any others to make a comment?
Alex has his microphone open. I'm not sure if he's able to get a message through. Alex, are you there? Hello, Alex. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, I will make a comment. This is Gatua from Kenya.
Yes, yeah, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, Alex.
Hello.
We can kind of hear you there. Go ahead.
Okay, if you can hear me, yeah. This is not a comment regarding the Togo, because I have some similar
Sorry, Alex. I think we lost the signal on you there. Hello. I think he's.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you there, last sentence though.
Can you hear me? So, like I was okay, like Nigeria prison, because it's a country where the British went somewhere and put the same thing on it, and then just some like the Biafrans and some other nations. But recently, the Biafrans has decided to take it up to the United Nations. But what the government has done is they've decided to use the military force to go and quell the opposition, which means they're trying to silence those who wants to agitate for self-governing. Like the Biafra, they want to separate, they want to be a nation of their own. So my question is this: who decides who wants to be a member of a country? If a nation decides that they want to go by themselves, and then are they not should they not be allowed to go freely if they want to rule themselves? I don't know if you understood what I'm trying to say. Hello?
Yes, maybe you could explain it again.
Okay, I'll start. Nigeria, for instance, is a country that has about 230-something nations, separate nations. These nations, they have different cultures, different traditions, and so on. But when the British came, they decided to join everyone together to make this nation called Nigeria. But now, some of the nations are deciding that they want to govern themselves. They don't want to be part of the nation anymore. But each of the nations that's taking this decision, the government is taking the military action to go and try to suppress the agitation for self-government. So my question is now, who decides who is a part of a country? Is it the people or the government?
Well, I know there's someone here that could probably give some answer to that, which is Ursula, the Universal Council from Spain, where they have that exact same problem.
Yeah, Catalonia. That's exactly the same problem we have in.
And we have the same issue in Canada as well.
Yeah, that's true.
With the Quebec wanting to separate from Canada every so often. Maybe Ursula could say something about that.
Because now even the leaders of the Biafrans who are trying to agitate for self-governing, they've been arrested and then been driven away from the countries, and then the government has sent the military to the areas to go and try to cause trouble in the area. So was it last week I sent a letter to the president asking him to stop, but it's just me. So I'm trying to see if the country, if the foundation can do anything towards this, if we can at least try to make the government understand that people have the right they have the right to decide if they want to be part of a nation or not, because it's not by force to be a part of a nation. If the British decide that they want to bring all countries together to make one, and then it doesn't work, they should be allowed to go their own way if they want to.
The problem is, you are correct, Alex, in one way, but I think what we should see, and something we have to bring out more into open, is to bring it into what we brought in, and you're part of it. As we know, in Africa, there are one spoken language, but between 3 or 4 countries, and this has caused a lot of problem because those who speak the same language want to become the same nation, but they're split in 3 or 4 parts. And the only solution for it is what you said. Can't they have their freedom? But it's not a freedom that they become their own decider of their own destiny, but they become part of the African nation as one continent, one country and one nation. This is the only solution to solve these problems. And when the British and the Europeans divided or enhanced to divide borders, they deliberately cut into these kind of things for the future. And in so many ways, you're right. Can't they decide that they can have their own destiny? But we have to look a step further. One language in the continent who wants to be a part of that language will become one. Look at Togo and Ghana, and further up just the north. There are one tribe is speaking, but divided in 3 nations. What you talk about, people want to split up, they made one nation out of many nations. In your work, in your writing to the world leaders, to government leaders, it has to emphasize on this, that the one nation government has been established, and you don't become, why can't they have a freedom? You have to give a suggestion, solution, that there are many speaking this language in many parts, or in one part. We work as one African nation, as one African continent, as one American continent. You have to give a solution, not trying to provoke the world leaders to see that these are trying to split. You have to show the beauty of what as one continent it brings. And the next step for you people who work in different parts of the world, which the vision is so elusive in a way, is that bring the world leaders to look at, okay, let them decide on themselves, and then work as one African continent. These are the opportunities you have to let them see. The war costs money. We don't have the tools of the war. Let's see what we can benefit. If you are a world leader, if you're a head of a state, you want the betterment of your subjects. The betterment of the subject is for them to have the past, the freedom. And you have to open these channels to world leaders. We work as one continent thinking, not anymore one nation, one tribe. What is good for Africa as a continent? And what we're burning, what we're destroying, what we can bring in. So in Nigeria, you have this, you wrote to the head of the nation as a head of the continent. You have to give a solution, that this is the solution, the way we see it, and we are prepared to support it. That you don't become by them looking as somebody who's come to create. You are there to show them a permanent solution. This situation in Togo is the same. Look at the borders, look at where is near, who's influencing it. You have to continuously bring that Muslims, Christians, Jews, local belief, path of belief, It's all the same. It's for peace. It's for the continent of Africa. It's for all of us. We become one nation. We are so mixed. Try to show them there is an advantage in diversifying to become all as one continent and as one nation. When you write as the head of the Keshe Foundation, it's a different thing. When you write as a Universal Council member, is a different thing. When you write as an Earth Council, and you give them an insight, you're here for peace, and you can create conditions that money can come into the country, can bring wealth for all of us in culture, in science, in everything else, they start listening. But they have to understand how much they're going to lose. Africa has moved in past 15 years, 100 years. And the purpose of all this is to take it back to 100 years ago to make money out of it. That's all it is. And who has more power? So try to show positive solutions. That's why I said we haven't come here to bring problem. We have come here to bring solutions, but the solutions in the way as you have written to your head of country, as a head of the Keshe Foundation, as a head of the Earth Council, use your responsibility to write to the president of Togo and to the opposition at the same time as Paul has done, a Universal Council member. And same as the French speaking, you have to give solutions to that. Open their eyes that there is more for us to gain. This is how it has to change. We have no military force. We will not allow any military force. But we have a solution in a way that the nation as a lot will lose. As one nation, one planet. This is what the problem is. Putting people out of their country, silencing the opposition does not help because the root sits there. But unite the two together. You are all three members of the council, move in position, take over, solve the problem, move out of the problem. The Earth Council, Universal Council, French speaking, the member of the council inside the country, and the other members get together, find a solution, and approach the leaders of the nation immediately. It's your job. That's why we are here today. Discuss it openly. What you see, what you're going to do, plan to go, foundation will support it. You have to take a flight, you have to go, send the bill to the foundation, we meet it. But do it immediately and let people understand it's done through understanding that there is a solution for everything in a peaceful way, and it's the nation which loses. As a member of the African Earth Council, you should write directly. It's your position, Alex. You have to.
Okay, Mr. Keshe.
The same is with the French Council speaking. Address, as a member of Universal Council of French speaking, is your responsibility to address the head of the government. We cover all expenses. Call a peace, go in, understand the locals, Togo, you got Paul there, listen, find positive solution. Don't look who's doing what. What Paul has done up to now is 100% correct. Follow it, bury it within a week. Don't ever let conflict run more than a few days. You see it, move in. Find a solution, move out.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Alex.
Mr. Keshe, is it possible you could give another example of that technique, you could say, of moving in and making things happen and then moving out again? What do you mean by that? It seems like you have some experience with that. I know you've talked in the past about Ireland and the troubles there and how you interacted and so on. Perhaps you could give us some example of that.
The way peace negotiations are understanding humanity, understanding who's behind the curtain. I explained that people have been paid to start fire, and Paul confirms it immediately. I've been through a very horrible revolution at a young age in my late teens and over years with it. Observed Palestinian revolution, observed the attacks on Israel through Palestinians. I have asked the Israeli Prime Minister for direct talks with Iran in achieving peace, and these things need a continuous work. At this moment of time, I'm involved in 2 peace negotiations, possibly 3 on the horizon, which we don't discuss. Peace negotiation needs to show the strength and the weakness. Peace negotiation needs to show sincerity to humanity, not to a leader. This is the key to any peace negotiation. You are loyal to a nation. You're loyal to human rights. You're loyal to those who you do not want to cease to suffer. This is the key. I go out to reach at this moment of time, in past even few days. We inform, we work very close at the highest level. We're talking about negotiation with peace between countries and nations and sects, which is unbelievable. Nobody can even think is possible. But we are talking. The talks is very slow. It's not happening over tomorrow, yes, no. There is a lot of people in peace talk. We have to understand the ones who start war have already been paid. People who start these conflicts, they already have received the money, as we say, in Swiss accounts, and promises to become leaders. And so by illusion of becoming leaders, they become delusion in seeing things which doesn't exist. Look at present Libya situation. Look at the present situation of President of Libya. Look at the history of his life. He was sent by the British. He was captured by ex-president. He was imprisoned. He was exchanged. He was brought back to England, and then he's put back in when the revolution happened, or they created that revolution for him to be. These kind of things, people are promised position, power, because when they get in now, they're a slave to the man who put them there. So when I negotiate from point of strength that nobody loses, but everybody has a loss. The only people who are going to benefit by it, explain to them the buildings you burn, the cables come from Europe, the electricity, telephone, sockets, and the light bulb comes from outside. Who's benefiting by it? These have to be imported more. Who's paying for it? The nationals. Look at what happened in Israel with Palestine a few years ago. $12 billion of damage, bombed Palestinian Gaza Strip, and what do you call it, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strips, everything which everybody Palestinian could ever master were developed there. $12 billion within weeks was burned out, bombed out by the Israelis. Who got all the business? Israelis. Who's supplying all the material for the buildings to be rebuilt? The concrete, the cement, the electric cables, the power station. One nation made a lot of profit out of bombing Palestine, United States and Israel. They bombed 12 billion, they sold 20 billion because it had to be rebuilt with the inflation included. People have to see the benefit to the nation. When you negotiate always from the point of strength. The minute you start negotiating from a point of weakness that this might happen, you already lost. You always negotiate from point of positive, what can bring, what can destroy, what can be lost. We heard the American president in the recent speech in the United Nations said the biggest, the most worst agreement ever done by the American government was the negotiation with the peace with the Iranians, because it was the worst deal for them. Go back in what I said 2 years ago. With the negotiation of 5+1, we got whatever we wanted. We didn't give a single cent away. We discussed, we negotiated on a correct human base, on man to man, without any deviation from point of strength. We had everything on our side: nuclear industry, scientists, raw material, and it was us. We are giving you intelligence, we're giving you knowledge of the new technologies in exchange for opening up. We didn't give anything from it. We took from the first day I entered negotiation, I entered from the point of strength, and the Iranian government followed the same procedure. And why, if you look at it, as I mentioned many times, you go and listen to what is happening. I explained there was a very big point made by the Senate that the committee was set up by the Jewish lobby to stop this signing of the peace agreement with Iran. It was the most horrible thing. Iran will become a nuclear technology. We became a nuclear technology. We got the right to proliferate nuclear material for power station, not weapon, the way we wanted it. We never wanted to go into weapon technology. We got into keeping our nuclear technology intact. We got to be able to export nuclear technology outside Iran. We got everything we wanted. But with that point, when the Senate went in that this is the worst thing, they wanted to create war against Iran, I made one conversation, one interview with Mike Harris. And in that conversation, Mike Harris, I said, I would like to see how the American Senate is going to oppose 10 to 15 million jobs to be created out of the peace talk with Iran, because that's what they're going to bring to Boeing and the rest of it, this negotiation. And within days, the opposition group in Senate, the head of the Iran opposition group resigned and everything collapsed because they saw what I put was correct. But the beauty of it is we listen to the talk of the current president, Trump. He says in the past 8 months, so many jobs has been created. Look how many of the jobs created came out of the Iranian peace talk. Millions. Opening up finances in other ways, or the contract signed by Iran, that's where most of the unemployment in the United States now is coming down. Iran is the savior for Americans, but they don't tell you that. And this is exactly what I said to the committee directly in public before the Senate committee collapsed, because they saw the reality. Now, I would like to ask the American president, these new jobs, how many new jobs has been created out of Iranian peace talk? Millions. Credit goes to Obama, who saw it, and the Senate at that time understood. Because when I negotiated, when I spoke, we put the beauty of what this peace brings. And now, again, Iran is the worst deal. Iran is the best deal American ever got. Employment, back into business. There is no growth anywhere else in a way for Americans. Everybody buys from China. Boeing, Lockheed Martin, big industries, IBM, and everybody else sold everything to Iran, and the jobs are increasing. It's a very simple question to ask. What do we have to lose? A lot. What do we have to gain? A lot. More than we can lose. So it's no use losing. When you negotiate for peace, now we are in negotiation in two fronts, two major, huge, but very, very quietly. But I do not go with fear, creating. I go with wisdom. What is to be lost? Who's not going to listen? And when you say your other side is not listening, peace brokerage needs a lot of confidence, a lot of understanding. And when I heard what Paul said, he works like me. And if he handles it the right way, Paul, you succeed where the government has failed. You and I have spoken with the chief of staff. Correct, Paul? Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Keshe.
We spoke with the chief of military, with the head of army. Get in touch with them and tell them Mr. Keshe would like to speak.
Okay, Mr. Keshe.
And call the opposition the same. Tell them we want to speak. The head of the Keshe Foundation for Africa, African continent, Alex is there. I'll be there. I'm sure the French-speaking will be there, of the Earth Council and you, and we can talk peace. We give enough that we can change the situation, but do it very rapidly.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
And if need, organize a meeting between all. The foundation will cover all the costs.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
I'd like to ask Paul if he has if he can contact me so that we can find time to discuss the situation so that I know how to deal with it. We have time to make. Okay then.
Open the lines. We speak. I'm 24 hours available, and the same with our French-speaking Earth Council member, Universal Council member. We have to strategize. Is the positions been brought by member of the Keshe Foundation worldwide? We have to respond, but the correct way, the positive way, and in a way that we negotiate for benefit of the whole, not only the country, but the continent and humanity.
Thank you. I will get contact with Alex and the rest, and we will get line communication about these.
Let's speak with the head of the armies, what do you call it, military forces, as we have spoken before with him. Tell him Mr. Keshe would like to speak friendly very quickly.
Okay, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed.
I would also like to say that if I'm needed, I will be ready to go. This is Gatwa from Kenya.
We're going to need you, Mr. Gatwa.
Yes, you can always contact me. I'm ready and I'm present.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Gatwa.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I think we can ask Benjamin, if he is there, bring him in. Togo has a very good friendship, close relationship with Ghana. We can ask the Ghanaian president as a man of peace to come in very quickly. He will be there. We have access to the presidential office very quickly in Ghana. I speak to Benjamin if we can bring them with us in part of the peace talk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be there in every way to support. The thing is, you got to remember, we are not a government, world government in waiting. We are a world government running. And the sooner the members of the councils, both and the core team understand this, with the bigger confidence you work and you understand, you make the difference. You can make the difference. And we are there, and these positions like this situation like this allows us to make that difference, allows us to be understood and listened to, and allows us to bring everything out in position. Anybody else?
I know that Ursula has had her hand up for quite some time, coming from the Universal Council Spanish, which is right next door to Africa. Ursula, would you like to say something?
Yes, hi to everybody. I'm Ursula, glad to speak to you and to give my position, all what we have been doing with Spanish, Latins with after hurricane. And we are preparing Puerto Rico expedition, but there is great problem. They have not connection. So I'm trying to join Sheila, who was the initiator of the letter she wrote to the council chat, and that Carolina brings on the light. And now we cannot reach her anymore. I know she has problems, but we are working with Don Fernando Rendon, who is intervening very much in also intervening on the teacher from Alvaro. Very, very beautiful teaching, really. They are very complementary. As in French, we have also many interventions. So could be others also there in Spanish, not only one, perhaps, if they wish, if everybody wish it. And we are organized now. He organized now there at Monterrey in Mexico a workshop, and I ask all the Spanish knowledge seekers to support him, because he needs support, every support. Because the idea is to have the money there to get to Puerto Rico, and then if Sheila could have some support, also material support, because we need to create everything there. She offered her house and her help and her time, and then on place we can start to create a SOS plasma station, and to teach also everybody how to do almost workshops to create guns to purify water. And the experience from Africa will be precious. We are also creating with Mosfek and Rui and Pete and Chao, and hope also Paul. I just write to him to work together on this kind of topics, urgent topics, and to show how to make all these devices, only just the basic one, and then go further. And they asking in Fernando is asking for help, because he is doing this on his own, and we are trying now to get as much people locally as possible to support him. Also material, perhaps this workshop, or perhaps other things to initiate, to finance this expedition. And then, of course, every need, as everybody has, should be given, because they cannot do all alone. So we are in contact with Carolina in private, but I know she is not very free. But we are working on this very hard, and need very much the support of the U.S. Council, the Core Council. We are working together, and we will expand on this topic, because there are very much urgencies. So I don't know. I am direct with Fernando on the chat, the Facebook chat. He has not connection. He has even a computer. It's very difficult to reach them all, but they much needs, very much needs, and desperation and sadness and fears. This is not fire. This is water. After hurricane water. And okay, we should really work together in the UC Council for achieve something very urgently. It's my wish, my deepest wish to all of us who are in need now. If you have some questions, if I can more information about something, I will be glad to do.
Can we have some support from the English-speaking Americans that are closer, and we have much more well-educated knowledge seekers who can help in this situation with Mexico through Puerto Rico, or they can go to Puerto Rico to be able to teach and literally locally see what they can do. You know, Alex is on the phone, is online. Alex, your GANS batteries you make with the beads,
Yeah.
you say usually last 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, even more. If you put them in a moist condition, or you just add some water to it, it's gonna last for like a month. But it's not the same. It's not the same voltage and not the same amperage.
But what can you get from it?
Depends on how much you make. If you make a lot of them, you can make at least one of them can give you like 1.2, 1.3 volts. But with time, after about 2 weeks, it's gonna drop to about 0.7 volts, and then subsequently it goes down to about 0.5 volts. That's where it stops. It stabilizes at 0.5 volts.
So if you can put a bunch of them in series, it costs nothing. They can make it in these places. So
Yeah,
it should be able to help with what energy locally they need, they can help with.
If you can put them in series and in parallel, as where they can charge up a mobile phone. You've seen it before. If you put in series, maybe you put like 5 in series and then 4 in parallel, can charge up a mobile phone.
So Ursula and the American, this needs a support from American team, American Keshe Foundation. How much can we ask from the Americans to support the Mexicans if they don't want to go to Puerto Rico, or a support from America for Puerto Rico direct?
Yes, we have a couple, Jasmine and her husband. They are ready to go there and bring with them. They are at Houston, and they're ready to take materials with them and go there on place. And others also. We are working on this, and you know, everybody's asking what to do and how to do. We must organize, but the big problem is the communication. They have not always web and computers, or working only with the phone. So it's very difficult. I don't know why I cannot reach Shayla 3 days now, but we are trying, and we are in contact also with Reina and with Jasmine. They are the 3 most dynamic now, and they are organizing very much around them. And also, if some people can go to this workshop in Monterrey, it will be very powerful and useful, and much information to get help also. But maybe we will have there also many others to go there. But it needs organization, and Shayla is ready to receive everybody at his house, maybe by a tent, you know, to receive the materials, and because she has not a very big house either, and almost destroyed around her. So there are many things to do. We are also in contact with Dr. Rodrigo, giving us help and ideas and information for health, for also from Africa for purifying water. And Thomas Salas gives also a very beautiful document I sent to them to start to make guns very easily. And we are just learning and doing.
Are you in touch with Thomas?
I asked him on Facebook.
I think Thomas is one of your best guys to take back to Puerto Rico to set everything up.
Yes,
Tell Thomas if you can get in touch with him Tell him we are prepared to pay. He knows the way we operate. He's worked with us before. Tell him the foundation is prepared to pay him what we've done with him before. If he can go into Puerto Rico, he's got a young family. If he can go, if he can spare the time and set up the team up there and go back, we pay for all his expenses.
Yes, I asked Don Fernando to contact him. I think he did. I can ask him now, and I am already in contact with Tom Salas, and I was looking what he was doing. Very nice. I'm knowing him with his page, so it's very, very interesting and very helpful indeed. And we are getting together and confirming the power we have there. So much knowledge seekers that they can go there to start to.
Okay, let me come in. I know Caroline has direct contact with Thomas. If we can get in touch with him and see if we can send him back into Puerto Rico, and that you can organize a team of people who would like to go there for a week or a month or whatever, that you can organize it with your team to go back in, because he's been in that situation. He knows, he understands what it needs to be done.
Beautiful.
Caroline, are you in touch? Just 1 second, please. Are you in touch with Tom Sellers? Are you in touch with Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get Caroline to communicate with him today and see if we can ask him with his experience to go back in and come back with you and organize a team to go there, because this disaster is not just giving somebody a hand today. This disaster, we're rebuilding a nation.
Yes.
It's a long term. It's not just going in and doing it. We've done it in the other island with him. And if we can get him to move and we can help him to move, I know he's got a very young family, for maybe a few weeks to organize and settle an organization that people can teach the locals, and the locals, like he done last time, carry on.
Yes, I will transmit this beautiful information to Don Fernando so he can get in touch with him and organize locally everything we need. And then they can contact me also. I give information to you and to make a team. Also with MOSFEC, I asked him to come in to share what we are doing, because his English is better than mine. And also with Peter and with Shao, we are doing really a great work, and we need now core team to assist us to give ideas, to say us how we can to do this all together, because what we are doing in Puerto Rico or might do there is for everybody, also for Togo and for everybody, and India, China, it's for everybody.
I could say something about that, which is one of the things that are in common with the situations all over the world is the lack of communication. There may not be cell phones available and cell phone towers. There may not be internet available locally and so on. So how do you communicate with the teams on the ground?
I found
exactly, that's the segue into what I was about to announce. But go ahead, Flint, that's perfect timing.
Okay, well, I found a independent, portable, self-contained satellite system, battery operated, solar powered. You can set up anywhere and have a high-speed data stream to connect to the internet, allowing you to do voice over IP or use Zoom. So it's something that's would fit in a backpack. You can take it out, set it up, and within a few minutes you have a direct internet line to the internet through satellite. All you need is a clear view of the sky.
How much does it cost?
I have to put the parts and pieces together. It'd be a few thousand for.
How many few thousand?
I don't know. I don't have a direct price yet.
Could you work on it and let us know?
Yes.
Maybe it's something we can use for future.
Yeah, it's great. It's made for people.
Imagine if each continent had a unit like that, so that if there's an emergency on that continent, that unit could be dispatched with the person involved and start to organize things right from the what do they call it, the source of the conflict, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's a device that hooks up to your laptop to give your laptop internet, and then there's a separate handset that plugs into the device to give you voice access too. So
isn't there like two different plans? One that gives you just a voice communication, like
it's
another one that gives you the data for.
It's using the BGAN satellite protocol, which I think is primarily a high-speed data stream. So it'd be more like voice over IP, which is basically what Zoom is. So it provides a nice connection to Zooms.
Would they be able to broadcast pictures on that system?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, theoretically, I haven't tried it out, but reading all the stuff on it, it's gives you full internet access, which is exactly what we need for Zoom.
Can you access Facebook, even more importantly?
Well, it provides you anywhere from a 300 to 600K stream up and down. So you can do anything you can, and that's kind of like about
that's only 600 kilobits.
Kilobits,
so
and that's
small.
plenty.
Wouldn't be a video that you wouldn't be able to.
No. It's plenty to do voice, and it's plenty to do pictures, and something that would allow to connect through Zoom or Skype or any other voice over IP platform. And you could set it up to provide a Wi-Fi signal so that you could use your smartphone too through Wi-Fi.
Right, but you couldn't use both at the same time, just due to
Correct.
the fact of the limited bandwidth.
Correct, yes. But it's nice, it's portable, has its own little antenna you just set up, and can be run by battery packs, and of course those battery packs can be charged by solar or by other means. And for those that are in a area traveling that definitely always has cell service where you travel, there's another device that I found. It's a self-contained briefcase that has 4 3G or 4G cell data modems in it that actually each modem is independent, brings in its own stream, and all 4 of those streams are aggregated into one high-speed internet pipe. So if you're always in a domesticated area traveling and there's always cell service, but it's not the best cell service, we can aggregate up to 4 streams together into one high-speed pipe that gives you independent, secure access to the internet. Again, self-powered. It has its own battery pack, lasts for up to 8 hours, and simply open it up and you have your own high-speed.
Can we have a look at this in detail?
Yes.
If it's something we need 1 or 2 in each continent placed ready. And we have to slowly start making emergency centers. And we need to look at it that we can communicate independent like this. And this is part of becoming one nation. We have to organize ourselves in the correct way. Let's look at it. But Caroline just mentioning that Thomas is a fluent Spanish speaking. So it could be very helpful in Puerto Rico. Both communicating with locals if they speak Spanish, and in his experience with this situation before.
There also is a student in the classes. His name is Alberto Feliciano, and he is Puerto Rican. And I'll get in touch with him to see if he wants to help or if he is able to. I don't know what his situation is.
if because they're inside the country, they have contacts, their family, and they know. So
Yeah.
we need to do it, but it's got to be done by all the members of the council, part of the Keshe Foundation family, whoever wants to be. We can facilitate the organization. We can facilitate a lot of things, but we need the members of the Keshe Foundation worldwide to come in and see what they can do. The foundation can bring the facilities. What I hear both from Marcella and what is getting done, and what I hear is achieved by Paul. These are the situations we are getting into, and we have to, these are tests for us. These are what I call pre-run for us to see how we can manage, how we can find solutions. And let's see what we can do. We have the financial resources to support up to a limit. And as we said, we committed 40,000 euro into this position. How it goes and further development is needed, we look into it. We have already committed last week to Nigeria for what we saw with Alex. The funds has already been transferred into their account. We have the position to support. We still need support worldwide by all the Keshe Foundation supporters to be able to do this.
Mr. Keshe, perhaps we can sort of put the word out there that like this project of communications in general with whatever system like Flint just mentioned, maybe that's an opportunity for someone out there that's listening that could support that whole system. In other words, finance it, or maybe they already own that kind of system and they're willing to allow the Keshe Foundation to use it for the work they wish to do.
Or find a sponsor.
Yes. So
we haven't seen
it's an opportunity for folks to contribute in a very meaningful way to help these the Universal Council and Earth Council do their work.
We got to start learning ourselves, and by working and by being an example, show how others can do what we can do with it, and how we can help ourselves with it. It's important for us to start somewhere, and let's see where we can go and how far we can support this these kind of work. With it, we find our weaknesses and we find our strength, and establish as it's just one word. Such a person is a knowledge seeker as a student. It took years to bring up the knowledge seekers and the students programming. Now, most probably the students in the knowledge seekers program, they become point of contacts with different nations because they come from all over the world. There are about 800-900 of them in some teachings registered for this year. So we can go back to them. As a students, they've already been trained, they've already been a student, so they become point of reference. The Universal Council, Earth Council, and the people who set up these things as just so by Phil, is the point of our reference. We need it. Can you help us? And you find out if they were there, they came to be a student, or they've been sometime a student, they carry the ethos of the fund. They know our problem and they can see how they can help us to help them. We got to start using all our resources, looking in all angles. And at the same time, always knowing that what we do is correct for the people we approach to do things for. Caroline will call Peter today, we'll get in touch with him. And he knows when we commit ourselves to support, we can do it. If we can move and then organize a team within next week, 2 weeks to go. Let this rapid emergency people all go, because not after a week, 2 weeks when they go, the real life starts when people have nothing. But when you teach people how to make maggraph system, how to make the paint pads, how to make the small energy packs, how to clean water, you're there for years at no cost. You'll be there, become part of the culture of the nation. Peter has done it and his work, we've seen his work.
information for California for Rick's appeal from the States.
Okay. Well, one more comment about the satellite systems that we just talked about. I was reading about them, and something we don't think about that often is one of the main uses of these systems is for emergency people in those situations to communicate with their own families so that their families know that they're okay and that they can help from that end and, you know, keep support for the emergency workers, because often they may not have the support structure in the place they're at in order to you know, maintain themselves and so on. So a part of that communication is not only setting up the networks for helping the local people and so on, but it's partly to give the families involved the reassurance that everything's going okay and that they have that line of communication and not the worry, so that the people can do the work that they need to do in that other location. Like with Tom Salas, that might be a good example. He's got a young family, you mentioned, Mr. Keshe, so they would probably want to make sure that they're in communication during that time. So it's just another point that's interesting to bring in.
But the communication is also needed to know what is needed in that area.
Yes.
You might have lots of water, but have no means for food, and you need to get some food into that area. And if nobody knows, it's hard to rally people behind to get that, to get the correct stuff to the people that need it. Because I have heard in the past of places like down south in the US where they would receive so much donation, but it would go to waste because it was not needed in that area. So getting the correct, what's needed in that area is also important.
This company mentions the one that does the BGAN terminals, they call it, which are the satellite terminals. They are sending these, they're shipping them to the affected regions across the Caribbean, especially Puerto Rico. And you can either email them for information how to help your organization with these carry portable, they call it, satellite, internet, and phone. So it's definitely something that they work with on a daily basis and know about that kind of situation. So it's something we should look into, I guess, get more information in the background. Okay, is any other questions or comments? I don't see anybody with their hand up here. Would you like to go ahead, Mr. Keshe? Is there something else you'd like to say now? I think the microphone's off if you're trying to speak. Might not be available at this moment. Is there anybody else from Universal Council or Earth Council that would like to?
Yes.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi, good evening. As I want to repeat again, as we have learned from and through Tom Salas, and when I can get a hold of him, he might debrief all the people which are or gonna get involved in this support team that please do not send no money to the island or to nobody who is on the island. Don't send no shipments in, because through the chaos, they do not get released. We lost a lot by sending it, trying to send it direct. It would not get released. I mentioned that last time. So you got to make sure if you want to donate and you want to support with whatever you can donate for the teams that are going to go in, please send it direct to the members of the teams that you know that are going to travel in that direction, because they can carry the money with them. But if you try to make the transfer into the accounts in the islands, they get blocked. PayPal, bank account, Western Union, there is a procedure that is automatically get kicked in because the government itself is so short. So they block all the funds, even the support funds which are coming in for the locals. They cannot retrieve nothing. So it is chaotically, and the first few months it will stay like this for a very long time. So be aware of that, and I will try to get Tom to get more information on details, what are the other obstacles, because he was there, and to see the sequence, because it's not much different, because these islands are all in the same kind of situation, and he will clarify a lot. So I will try to get him online to come into next week, Tuesday, that he can share his experience with all of you. He has started reposting a lot of information which he has gathered and learned and applied in very simple steps, because the second problem is that they cannot find the raw material for what we sometimes work with. So he was very innovative, and he knows where to find the resources and how to find them, and how to find, if he really can't get his hands, how to make solutions. So we can really go to the basics of learning to support and to teach it. And I will get in touch with him, and I will try to connect him with all of you, even in Spanish, for the people which are not so fluent in English. So he will guide you much easier in your own native spoken language. I do not know if he understands Portuguese, but I know for sure he's fluent in Spanish because he's in Mexico. He's fluent English because he's born in England. So we can find solutions. For answering you, Rick, there is a person who came forward to assist in the whole confusion. He thought it was happening in the States, which I wasn't aware of, so I couldn't reply to him. But he stepped forward, and he was one of the teams who went to Standing Rock when the native people were trying to protect their fields for the oil industry to come in. And he's done a lot of work through him and through another few knowledge seekers like Marilyn. They have gone there, they have passed there, they have done their job, they have delivered goods, they have delivered patches. They went through the frost time. So we can move knowledge seekers even in the states which have already started coming forward to direct them where you were requesting for help, Rick. So I can get them in touch with you. They're true knowledge seekers. They know the working, they know the teaching. They're quite advanced in what they do. And it would be nice for you, most probably, to have some people under your wings to send them to California. And then we can see what they need to support there. And I do call to all the knowledge. I do all call to all the other knowledge seekers. When you're in these regions or you're nearby, please get in touch with our teams through Messenger, Facebook, through whatever means, try to find us. and we'll get you in the teams where you want to work and what you can do. And please explain in what fields you're best at, and if you can be on the move or you can do it from a distance. So Rick, whatever you need, just give me a call.
Yeah, I have no idea whether the people down there are in particular need. That the people that I know that there's others that would be in need, but I don't know anything about that network. I'm not the person to be the contact person about that because I'm not good with putting people together that way. What is the contact address, or how do people say someone, I don't know, in California wants to help out somehow and they're familiar with the cache technology and maybe there is an area that needs help, let's say. How do we connect everybody? What is the best way at this point? Through Facebook, is that the best way to go, or
I think a lot of people, I think, Rick, know or Facebook communication, and a lot of new people are coming in. I see them appearing, so they can come to me. I can direct them, or even the other council members and the knowledge seekers see them appearing through their language. We add them to the chat rooms of the Universal Council in Facebook so that they can communicate in their own native language. So they don't need to get, when I see them coming in only speaking Portuguese or Spanish or French, we locate them to where the native language is spoken so they find their way. They immediately get support, and then we can locate them together and see how to direct. So please feel free to post your Facebook connection. Everybody can find mine. So go to the Keshe Foundation. You can appear there. There are not a lot of Facebook pages. There are a lot of KF SSI groups. Try to find KF SSI in your language and it will appear. If it doesn't exist yet, we can always accommodate you to create one. So we have in more or less 18, 19 different languages, and they're everywhere and they are well connected and they communicate very beautiful. So Rick, even if they come to you or you have special requests, you can always send them down to the line through Messenger. They don't need to become. One thing I will try to explain. Don't try to become a friend, because most of the knowledge seekers which are working on Facebook, their friends list is full. So, but don't panic. Go through Messenger. Send them a message. Then they can accept you as your adding to your Messenger, and then they can decide to add you as a friend. So you don't need to get lost in the system. A lot of people get spooked up because they want to try, to become a friend, and then it says you're full. Do not panic. You can come through Messenger and the line stays open.
Okay, that's a big hint there. Thank you. Let's see what else about that. Oh, I was going to say that the new community site that Vince has been working on will be useful as well if people set up a workshop in some area, and it's a public workshop for people in that area to get knowledge. Then that can be posted in the community site and others can see it and interact from that location as well. And as we develop that, I think that would be more and more useful, perhaps in this emergency type situation as well.
It will be extremely helpful. And if if there are other knowledge seekers which have other solutions of communication, please come and share them with us. It will be really helpful. And it might be very nice, Ursula and the Spanish team, when you come in contact or Tom gets close to you, please register or document the way he explains through his experience in the fields, because that might be very valuable for moving on to other districts or other places and to use the same techniques and the same application, that it doesn't need to be kept on repeating the teaching. So once it's documented, we can pass it on to other people. Tom can speak, or it can be translated through our transcribers, and it can be a very valuable information for a lot of people in the future. I would like to make a call to the Japanese people, because they have gone through these kind of situations, and I have seen quite a number of documentaries about how they organized themselves after what happened in Fukushima, because they have learned a lot, they have cataloged a lot, they have become so much aware what to pay attention to, as Vince and Rick brought forward, where there is a need of food, where there is a need of water, and where to delegate it. They have come up with a very nice system. They also brought very interesting forward to please involve the elderly people in the whole process of recuperating and managing, because they don't go down so fast and stay crippled in illness. They revive with giving them tasks to do and giving them responsibilities and giving them that they are valuable to the whole system. So please do not ignore the elderly people when you go into these kind of situations, because they have noticed that half of them were up and walking, and if it would have been in another situation, they would have gone worse down, and they couldn't take care of them. And the medical cost was too high, so they made them part of cooking, cleaning vegetables, counting the stock, going to collect water, but making them valuable, that they regain their health much faster, even when they were bruised and bumped and had a broken bone. Because being needed in these kind of situations, especially for elderly people, makes them to get up and to recuperate their health 10 times faster than when you leave them and you ignore them. So please keep that in mind when you go to these kind of disaster zones. Involve all age. It doesn't matter if they're bruised, it doesn't matter they're suffering. You pull them out by making them responsible, and they love it, and they like to share that they know and use their capability that they are needed. Then you reduce your health problems, you reduce half of your medical costs and things that most probably will not even be available at the first few months. But making them to come and interact, and maybe even to do babysitting with the children, or make them to do drawings or whatever, try to get them involved as fast as you land there, and takes them out of trauma condition. Even the injured, the ones which couldn't even walk anymore, the ones which were plastered to their chair, they couldn't, or even in bed, they used to bring them vegetables to clean, they used to bring them. And the Japanese people, if you're in our teams, please step forward, bring as much information, because you have a beautiful experience how to deal with this kind of people and with this kind of situations. They can start working in the garden, they can do so many things. Make them useful, make them to feel that they are still alive, by giving them the joy to be part of the whole structure. And at the same time, they will give you their both hands, their heart, and their body to serve.
Ursula has her hand up. Caroline, maybe we can hear from her.
Yes, I would like to inform you that Don Fernando is all right in contact with Tom Silas. I sent to you on your Facebook chat, private one with Rick also, his one, the answer from Tom. He say he's not able to go to the States. I don't know, you know him better than me, so I wish that you can talk with him directly. But I'm wishing that he can teach them also from where he is how to do
Ursula,
Ursula, can you explain what you said about Tom?
I sent the exchange they got with Fernando and Tom. You have it on your chat. If you want to read it, I'm not able to put it bigger, so it's very little. Ah, yes, he answered. Sorry, my English is not very good. And hi, I'm listening. My problem is I'm not allowed to American territory. They won't let me in.
Is that from Tom?
Yes.
Yes, so we forgot about this. Yes, we know that. This is what let me explain for other people to understand why Peter got into this situation. Tom got to this situation. Last year or 2 years ago, when Tom came and asked for the appeal for the disaster in the island he was, we committed $10,000 to support. And part of the money didn't get to us, Caroline explained. And then he wanted to go to Honolulu with Mike Nashif, Hawaii, with Mike Nashif with that big conference. And we sent money to Mike Nashif to buy tickets for both of them. And Mike Nashif took the money. And in one way or another, Tom got caught with one-way ticket for him. And the Americans stopped him. And they banned him from entering because Mike Nashif didn't buy the return ticket because he already wasted money somewhere else. Abuse of the money from the foundation. This is why we stopped all the communication with Mike Nashif and a lot of other misconducts, even though he's done a lot of work around the foundation. And this behavior, what Mike Nashif did to Tom, got the American government banning him from entering into any American territory. He nearly got into prison twice because of it. We forgot about this altogether. But he's correct, he cannot go because of what Mike Nashif did to him. And it was all paid by us. We paid, I think, 5,000 euro to Mike Nashif to buy the tickets, and money disappeared somewhere, whatever. And we just bought him a one-way ticket, and they stopped him and they banned him from America. Caroline can explain more to you because that's why we become very careful with how to help and what to do. And this is the situation that Mike Nashif created for us, and for him, he's correct, he cannot go there. I forgot about that. But he can help direct online. We can support him in other ways to support in the case of Puerto Rico. I forgot about that altogether about him.
Yes,
you're correct.
That was, I'm talking to Don Fernando, to Sheila, and to Jasmine. Jasmine is living in Houston. She is ready to go there with materials. And she offer also, if you want to send to her in Houston, so she can buy. And Don Fernando also in Monterrey, and then go with some materials and some possibilities to create.
You are better internally. Most of the raw materials are there. Speak to Tom. He can teach you a lot.
Okay, thank
I
you very
forgot
much.
about this. He cannot move, but that's a problem. I forgot, totally forgot about what happened to him. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I see there is a lot of communication in the chat room. If there is anything that is very useful for any of you, try to copy the links where to find the information about boosting of Wi-Fi signals. There's a lot of information here.
Hello, it's Sandor from Budapest. I just put 2 links into the chat.
Yes,
I posted on my Facebook. There are 2 instructional videos by some young boys from eastern part of Ukraine, where in Luhansk area they had a war situation and they had to solve how to get contact to Wi-Fi to several kilometers. So it's a working solution, and it's very easily, very nicely explained.
It doesn't need to cost a lot of money.
It's not. It's just use some pieces of copper wire and some metal plate. It's very easy to solder them together.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out, that there are a lot of solutions in very simple ways, and it's the ones which have, do this kind of things out of their heart, like a hobby. They found incredibly very simple ways to manage to do beautiful ways. And please come forward with your knowledge. And if you have systems at home that you don't use, or somewhere where they can donate, please share them with us. Any other knowledge seeker that wants to come and share something?
Hey, good morning.
Yes,
go ahead.
Speaking, please.
Sorry, I just want to say one thing. If someone put it in the chat in the Facebook or the others facilities, because this is only here in the.
Yes, he's in. Oh, no. Tom. Sorry, Tom just appeared. Hi, Tom, can you speak, please? I just saw your chat. I will come back to you, Jalal. Just one moment.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tom. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. I'm listening in the background. I just couldn't get I wasn't sure what the Zoom number was to join the meeting.
Well, that's fine.
I'm here. I worked it out.
Yeah, I was trying to get you about half an hour ago, but I wasn't sure if you were online or where I could find you. But I know that you could follow the teaching because you responded to the right information.
Yep.
But I didn't know where you would appear. Thank
so
you
I'm here.
for
I'm here. I'm in Mexico, and like you mentioned, my issue with getting over to Puerto Rico is that it's an American territory, and that's they've told me they don't want me in America for now, so that's all right. There are many places that have been hit recently, and my second home, which is Dominica, is one of them, and this is in equally terrible situation. This is really, really bad over there. We're still not in touch with them there. There are no communications. But I've watched a few videos online that people have managed to share, and it's pretty rough. It's turning into a bit of a lawless chaos down there. So one thing I want to say to the people who are thinking about going out to these areas is just go carefully, go gently, because it's not a bunch of roses out there, you know. It's pretty rough, and people are in a pretty desperate situation where there's no food, there's no water, and they've got no access to what they need. And from what I can gather is it's not a pretty place to be. So you've got to be there and be well switched on, that you know what you're doing, because you need to have your wits about you. That's what I'm trying to say. If that makes sense.
Tom, just one moment.
Tom, can you explain to us, because you have a first-hand experience, you took the people to the mountains from the lowlands, and you literally, as I understood, start a new cycle. Could you explain how they have to do it? What's the procedure you saw and you succeeded, that we can learn from it?
Well, it's difficult to gather, to get people's attention in these moments. You can go in there and say, hi, I'm somebody that's got some solutions. Are you interested? And it's quite hard to get their attention. And if you do manage to get their attention and you can share some of the knowledge with them, that's great. But I found it was really hard to get people to listen to you, because you're coming in with new information, and it's difficult for them to comprehend what you're offering. You know, you can go in there with the basics and say, hey, I can help you out with some solutions here for pain relief, for water purification, and so on. But it's just tricky. It's hard to get their attention. So I was trying to offer some solutions both in with the plasma and also in the housing and getting them safe, because I work with a technique called Super Adobe, which is where we can teach people how to build domes. Anyone who's got me on Facebook will have seen some of the posts that I've put where you know, showing people how to create a virtually indestructible little shelter. So when we went up into the mountain there, that was to teach a little crew of how to create these domes, and I was showing them the plasma works at the same time, and we were ready to go and start putting it to the people. But the little bit of funding that we were looking for from the government to help us to kickstart it, we didn't get it, which was really disappointing. And at that point, I just decided it was like screaming at a wall. So I backed out of the whole thing. But we're in that time again now where disasters are just upon us left, right, and center, and it's really relevant. So I can't go out to Puerto Rico. I could go back into Dominica, which is another one of the islands that's in a bad state. But to be honest, I'm just sort of in an observation of it all from here. I mean, Mexico got hit recently also with an earthquake that was really terrible. Hundreds of people dead, hundreds of people, thousands of people left affected by it. And it's just difficult to know where to begin in that scenario. So, I mean, it's great that we're looking to send teams in on the ground. Communication is the biggest problem, as you've all discussed already. You're not going to be able to communicate unless you can manage to get these little sender receivers that you're talking about to have a basic online communication. But that's the biggest. You just can't communicate with the outside world. And right now, like, I've got friends and family there that are in Dominica. I've heard that my mom's all right and she's alive, but we don't know who's alive and who's dead and who's got homes, who hasn't got homes. We literally know nothing. So communications are just dead. There aren't any. So that's the biggest issue. You know, if you can get over that issue, then great. You can do all kinds of good work. But we rely on modern communications these days, and that's one of the frustrating things is when the communications go down, you're on your own. You're just there, you know. So anything I can do to help, yeah, I'm happy to help.
Tom, as you would start supporting, please, can both sides make a recording of exactly what you're explaining or supporting, that we can pass this knowledge on to other parts of knowledge seekers, which will start moving to go into these kind of disaster areas. It was very important because me and Tom, we decided to make sure because they were after, it was not one wave, it were multiple waves. And we decided together that with the advice, by sharing and communicating with each other, I can maybe even pull a lot of these communications back forward, or maybe Tom can even bring them forward, that we were, Tom was moving food, water, whatever he could get his hands on, whatever was available, especially with the children, to move it to higher grounds. If there was a second wave to come, that at least a lot of what was still usable could be applied or could be a resource for people who were moving to the higher fields. And Tom, if I remember well, you established a second and a first and a second layer as they were going up, that they could go there and restart, correct?
Yeah, you need to sort of be well coordinated with your little bit of supplies that you've got. And so accessing them and so on is, it's important that you get organized and make sure that you're not just sitting on a stock of supplies in one position. Yeah, I've just put out a little basic video of the simplest way that I think that you can produce a plasma if you haven't got all the big stock of materials and whatever, you know, the basics. If you can get hold of a piece of zinc, if you can get hold of a piece of copper, and you've got salt water, there you go. You can start to produce a plasma, and then you then you can use that plasma to do the basic stuff that you need, like making the paint patches and helping to structure your water and so on. But the biggest, I think the main issue that people are going to come across with when they get out there to these areas, that they're going to meet people who are frustrated, grumpy, tired. They need the emotional support. So getting that, getting the zinc on the go is very important. And, you know, I don't think you're going to get round to showing people how to make magravs and stuff. When you go out there, it's going to be very, very basics. It's going to be ABCs of plasma, you know, and that's the stuff that I think people should prepare themselves to go out and want to teach. How to make your 3-4 basic plasmas. If you haven't got access to caustics and things, then, you know, you can use the ashes, boil down your ashes to create your own caustics. And these little ways of working very naturally with what's around you are where you will get to, because there really isn't very much on the ground after you. I mean, I've seen the images of Dominica recently, and it's just nothing. It's leveled. There's nothing there. There's barely a tree left standing. There's 90% of the people have lost their roofs on their homes, so they're in a position where they've got shelter from the sun, but anytime it rains, they're under the elements, and you know, it's rough. So you've got to go real back to the basics. You're not going to be teaching people how to make magravs. I'm pretty sure of that. You're going to be teaching people how to make the real basic plasma stuff and how it can be applied, which is, you know, most effectively is using it for water and energy, emotional support, and pain relief, basically.
So if I have understood well, Tom, it would be very wise for the knowledge seekers to take dried GANs ready-made with them so that they can start tapping into it straight away.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to be careful when you're traveling with the plasmas and stuff, because it's something that the security as you're entering the island or as you're moving through countries, they don't know what it is, and if they find it, they're going to want to know what it is. Because a dried zinc can look a lot like cocaine. You know, you're gonna encounter these issues. So be careful with what you move with, and if even you need to move with those things, you can take those things in with you, but you might encounter a problem going in. So if it was me, I would think twice about moving with the dried GANs and stuff, but because I know I can make it on the ground. You're going to be able to, you're going to be able to find a piece of zinc, even if you have to rip out an old battery. You're going to be able to find a piece of copper, even if you have to go and pull out some of the wiring out of somebody's home. You're going to be able to find salt water. If you have to go down to the sea with a bucket, so be it. So it's going to be like real back to basics, But yeah, you can travel with the dry GANs, but just go carefully. I mean, you're going to need to put it a little bit at the bottom of your suitcase, let's say. A little bit clandestine.
Let's put it this way, it's not going to be a romantic journey.
No, not at all. And it's going to be intense when you get there because people are just under a high emotional stress. That's the biggest thing you're going to encounter. It's like, I watched a video the other day of Dominica, and it's now a month after it's been hit. And just to get into the capital, the town that is the capital, you can't drive in. They've closed off all the roads. So you've got like 4 or 5 miles of traffic backed up. You've got people that are stressing out because their home is open to the elements. They need to buy a piece of galvanized for their roof, but they're in a 5-hour traffic queue just to get in, to then be able to walk into the town, where if you're lucky, you might be able to find a piece of galvanized to take back home to put on your roof. So people are just grumpy, stressed out, hungry, thirsty. It's like, it's not going to be a lovely camping trip up in the hills, So just be prepared for that because it's stressful, high stress situation.
Tom, this is Ted here in West Virginia. Can I add to your ideas here about the transportation of the GANs?
For sure.
Thank you. I think that I feel like, well, here in the United States, the travel and the security really involves the amount of the liquid. And I think here in the United States, we have a lot of different shampoos and lotions, and they're all sized to the perfect amount that will be allowed on an airplane, like say 2 ounces or less, or an ounce or less. I'm not sure what it is, but say like an opaque
Let me explain something. Can I explain something? We travel with at least sometime 3-4 liters of gas with us. Yes. On regular flight. As long as it's in cargo. In one airport, they pulled me out. Okay, I show who I am. They understand. They let me through. But don't carry dry gas with you, but you can carry liquid gas with you. And you got to remember, 1 liter of liquid gas can produce up to 20,000 liters of plasma liquid. It's a huge amount because you don't use it. The other way to be benefited by it is when you arrive at the destination, then dry the gas, then you can use it up to 50 to 100,000 liters. Because when you have a liquid gas, it prefers through because it gives its energy back much faster. It depletes. But the solid gas tends to not prefer through, but at the same time, it releases energy the same way. But don't carry powder, as said. It can create problem because it needs to be tested and everything else. But when they test it as narcotic on the machine, it shows as no narcotic. So you don't have, but they want to know more about it. But you can carry, I carry sometimes 4 or 5 liters of gases and never seen any problem. So this is one of the things you can do, but cannot go in the hand luggage. You got to put it into your cargo suitcase, wrap it well, and we travel frequently with these materials. But in the liquid, it's got to be in the suitcase.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's the way I feel. I mean, the zinc oxide and copper oxide and water are not restricted products. So I think that's perfectly fine and acceptable and very safe.
Another issue is we're speaking here as though you can openly get into the country without a problem, as if you're coming in like a tourist. I know that there can be issues just for getting in the country. Why do you want to come in at this time? You know, I've got friends who are there trying to get volunteers into Dominica, and they're not able to get in at the moment. So you can encounter these problems also. You know, just getting in is not easy. So it's something for folks to start looking at now. If they want to get in, start sending emails and start trying to gather information about how easy it is to get access into the countries. Because some of these places, they just don't want, you know, you don't want people coming in. And if you do come in as a volunteer, you're going to need some kind of written, who you're working for, what organization are you working for, what are you doing, what have you got to offer. So gather that info now so that you've got it. If you need the support from the foundation, then have them give you all the necessary information that you're going to need, because you will encounter those issues.
Thank you very much. If anybody needs anything, Keshe Foundation, as a Keshe Foundation, we can issue you these letters of introduction.
Great.
So
thanks,
that should be no problem. Thank you very much. If anybody needs introduction in disaster zone from the foundation, while you're going in there, we can give it to you, and we add to the references. We are part of the Italian Civil Defense Organization. We are, as part of the Italian, working with the Italian Civil Defense. We can give that kind of letter from the Italian Civil Defense that you know what our position is, so that we can facilitate those kind of things before you go in.
Perhaps if people get certified in the workshop series that's we have with the delivering a basic workshop and so on, then perhaps we can have a certificate or some sort of confirmation that they have that training. Maybe that would be helpful for them to get through the border situations as well, emergency situations.
Also, I'd like to add that any information sheets, I know we've got Dr. Klaus's first aid document, but any information that can be put into the simplest form. Like, I know we've seen information about the water purification floating around, but is there one document there that's the simplest way that we can purify water? Is there one document where the simplest way that we can use maybe CH3 to provide energy and food? Is there one so if we can sort of consolidate that into what I've noticed, I put the little video on the golden age of GANs the other day, and I had so many people contacting me saying, wow, thanks, you've just demystified it for me. You've just, because there's so much info floating around there, and I know there are levels of understanding and there are levels of complexity to this information, but the real simple stuff, which is just like, for instance, take a piece of copper, hold it over a flame till it goes gray, join it to a piece of zinc, put it in salt water, go. That made so much sense to people, and they're telling me, wow, can you give us more info? Can you give us more that's just simplified like that? And it means so much to people, because there's a lot of folks that are following this information, and yeah, I get that it's complex and I get that it can be very technical, but on the other end of the spectrum, it can be very simple too. I know Mr. Keshe is always saying this. It's actually very simple information, but it needs deciphering and it needs compressing into little packets of information that are really easily understandable for folks. And you're going to experience that on the ground there too. You know, it's very easy to bamboozle people with this information, but if you keep it really simple, folks just appreciate it. So my advice is, if anyone can help, I mean, I can do the same thing, but I'm actually holding down a day job at the moment as well, which makes it tricky for my time, but I'll do my best. But anybody that can help consolidate in a document there, that's just the simplest way to purify water, the simplest way to create energy food-wise, energy-wise, pain relief. One document for this would be great that you can literally hand out at a workshop or whatever. And I think people would just really, really, really appreciate that simplicity. No frills kind of plasma information.
Tom, Tom, this is Ted here in West Virginia.
Hi.
And I want to add to what you're working on there. I really feel the calling to that also, like putting some stuff together that's pretty solid. And I understand Mr. Keshe not really doing that in the beginning so that we can actually learn the theory ourselves and really understand it without just following directions. We've been making an attempt at kind of combining up directions like that for just the simple process of making the GANs and nano coding called the Book of the Body of the Man. And it's a little bit frilly and frou-frou. We did a lot of design on the artwork and some peace symbolism and try to put the sacred geometry in there. But when it comes to the words and the diagrams of it, we try to make it as simple as possible, like you're saying, just no real, just very maybe easy to translate, easy to understand, not really limiting with what you have to do it, but what you can use to do it. Because I think what we're learning now is that it isn't about having to have these exact items. It's about all the items that you could use to make this. And I think that's an important part of the process of learning this. And we kind of finished that chapter 1 part where it's just basically how to do the nano and how to, make some GANs is simply, or the idea, the concept behind them, so people can start to work with that. But we're really feeling the calling, what you're feeling, like what do you do with that after you have it? How can you make a small device that'll, energize water, like the cup of life? Imagine how important if you could supply an area with the cup of life to 1,000 people in a disaster area. I mean, those people would have a much different state of mind and being. Anybody that's drank from the cup of life for an extended period of time with the zinc and the copper around it knows the difference. Anybody that's tested with the pH meter sees the pH. I've had so many people in chemistry see that cup and be like, that shouldn't do that. Like, how is that pH changing in that cup? Well, it does. The input comes from the atomic power of the copper and the zinc. And, so we're feeling now like the simple pain pad. How can people get a Ziploc bag or a vacuum sealer and, put some paper towels in there and make that? How can people get a little spray bottle? I had a friend of mine that,
what's important, without tripping you there, sorry, but what's important is taking something like a document like that, compress it down into 2 sheets that can be photocopied. You're not going to be able. No one's going to be able to upload the document. If you're trying to send that to folks who are in that scenario, that you're not going to hear from them. So anyone who's going in there, make it so it's a 2 really, really compressed 2 pages, 3 pages that can be photocopied, and they can literally go in there with it in their folder. You make 200 copies and you hold it with you when you go in. And make it so it's not a digital document. Make it so that it's very easy just to go and copy that and get it on the ground, because you're not going to be on the internet once you're in those scenarios. But cheers.
That can be plastic coated so that or laminated, as they say.
Yeah, right.
Be waterproof, and it'd be nice if it was all in one sort of page. We did have the plasmatic first aid, which many people appreciated. It was it's still available, but it should be updated to.
Yeah, I would put that as part of that document, because that's a very simple way to understand it.
And a lot of it needs to be pictorial, so that it's not all just English words that needs to be translated into the local language and so on. There's lots of pictures and as much.
Collectively, what would we like to see on that page? Obviously, a health pad, in my opinion. And what else would you all like to see on that page as a collective?
Water is one of your biggest problems you're going to encounter when you go out to these disastrous zones. You've got access to water, but you might just find what follows a disaster is disease and cleanliness issues. You've got people going and gathering their water from a river, but higher up that river, you've got people using that river as their toilet. You've got an issue with rats. So you've got potential for all kinds of diseases to be floating around. So you're looking at hygiene and water purification is one of the biggest issues that you're going to come across. And so for me, structuring water and purifying water and a very simple how-to for that would go down really well.
Does anybody know if the cup of life does reduce bacteria? I've never ran any tests like that. We've just been messing with pH and just trying to become healthier and better of mind. So we've not really
The simple way to do, we done tests with the Ghanaian water authorities, is carry CO2 is one of your best disinfectant. You make a water of plasma CO2, 40%, 60%. You put a percentage of 20-30% of zinc oxide, and you add about 5% of copper oxide. It kills any bacteria. If you add the GANS plasma into the water with a small amount of GANS and just shake it and let it subside to the bottom, it'll take any sediment with it to the bottom. You just drink the top 50% of it. It's a pure water. It's purer than anywhere ever been created. It's purer in Ghana now. In FDA are looking to use these waters as an injection water for plasma. It's that pure.
Mr. Keshe, can we reuse the GANS after you shake it? Can you reuse again, or do we need after it settles?
Yes, you can use it. You can use it, but you have to understand you only use the top 30%. We can release documentation to show that all bacteria are dead. We showed once. We have these are scientific papers. We have done research by water authorities, by atomic organizations, so we know 100% we are correct. What you can do when you purify the water, you add CH3 about 10% to the water you've taken out. This becomes food. This becomes energy. Because don't forget, you already carry the energy of the zinc oxide, copper oxide, a small amount, and the CO2. So now you just need to give it energy. 10% of CO2 or 20%, 30% of CH3 added to it, it becomes an energetic water. You can very simply shred some apples, put it in the water, drain the apple out, and you reuse it for food. Any food content you use. I don't go and do what most of the other people do. I just put fresh fruit, everything you get into the bucket, and as you add gases to it, gas water to it, it gives all its beauty to it. So you carry it.
Okay. So we feel like maybe we'd like to see a diagram with the water for an energy water with the food, so people can have the nutrition, and then the energy.
It's very easy to do.
Yes.
It's very easy to do. You can use you just need about 5% of gas of plasma copper. Don't use the copper into the gas of CO2 and zinc oxide, which you put in the water. Everything subsides to the bottom. You just need time. You can use liters of it. And then you can reuse it again because the gas doesn't lose its property. And actually the water, what you collected at the bottom as a sediment, they themselves, some of them behave as a gas to give you a better result. So you can increase your material in a way too. But purification is 100%. We can release, we already released some data. So you can do everything with it, no problem.
Peace. This is beautiful for the world, man. Thanks.
You can do it in time of emergency. These are the things you need to do. In the coming time, Keshe Foundation Worldwide will release these sachets of water purification system. We're just setting up the factories around the world, and then this is one of the things each Keshe Foundation factory has to have as part of the, what we call it, rescue team in package ready. So all you need to do, you carry your gases. When you make gas waters, for let's say 10 liters of gas, you can produce 10,000 liters of water. You can do all sorts of things with it.
Also, Mr. Keshe, I know Renan released a few documents a year or two ago that were explaining how you can use ashes as well.
Yeah,
So
ash. When you ash, you add a gas.
Nano state, you're gonna find a lot of people will be interested in plasma production and all that, but you're gonna find going out to villages up in a mountain, what they're gonna have access to is ash. And you know, if you could briefly explain that to the folks, that would be great.
If you find silver backleaf, if you find anything, you just look at the pictures and it says, what are the content of the leaf of the tree you're near to? Carry some copper, carry some whatever. You can use the ashes of it for these purposes. It does the same thing.
I think that's going to be one of the most relevant bits of information you can give to the teams that are thinking about going out to these areas. Is that how you can use the natural materials you've got around you, because that's what you're going to be able to access, and that's what it's going to make sense to people the most. People who've never encountered plasma technology are going to, if you tell them, well, look, take your ashes from the fire, mix it with your water, siphon that off, do it again, and now you've got clean water. That's going to make sense to them a lot more than trying to explain the whole caboose. You know, that level of basics is what you're going to look at.
That makes a lot of sense. Sorry,
I was going to say they also
a lot of people are not interested in the science of it. They're interested in purify water. Try to, when you approach these positions, try to show the technology in a simple way to the officials, to the government, to the council. They support you very rapid because it gives them the part of it and it shows them solution for their people.
I know, well, this makes a lot of sense to me. Does this have something to do with why carbon filtration works so well? I mean, this isn't atomic, this is a GANS reaction, isn't it, in these carbon filters, these ash filters that clean water?
Yes, but these are different type of ashes we're talking about. When you make an ash and then even you make it into a caustic, you can use it.
Oh, okay, we're talking about making caustic from ash, homemade caustic.
It's very easy. Tommy can teach them.
Yes.
Yeah, just boil it, right? Just get your ashes.
Okay. I thought you were speaking on using ash for the filtration of water, using the carbon to filter the water. I misunderstood. Okay, I see.
Yeah, you can do both. You use the ash for preparing the water, but if you boil it in a way, you get caustic, and then you can use it for the materials you have.
Yes, sir. Beautiful.
Okay.
A little salt. You put salt in there to make it soda. You got the salt too?
You can do, but the salt will come afterwards when you want to produce the gases. Okay. It becomes easy.
You can look up making lye. They call it lye in most parts of the world instead of caustic, or caustic lye sometimes, and it's been made for centuries, so it's a common technique.
Potash.
In most areas.
When we talk about the
Ted, we can barely hear your microphone. It's so distorted. It's hard to hear.
Okay. I'll sign off. I love you all. Peace.
Okay. Is there any other points of discussion? Please, regarding the Togo, gather together the members of the Universal Council, Earth Council, and we can move in. Majority, we have to use one point the governments which are peaceful around Togo, especially the President of Ghana. His Excellency President Nana is one of the most peaceful men on this planet at this moment of time. We know he signed himself to peace. We can use him, but I know he's most probably active himself in the background with these things. But the Keshe Foundation as an intermediary between the two, Keshe Foundation of Togo, Keshe Foundation of Ghana, Keshe Foundation of Nigeria, communicate officially on the channels of the Keshe Foundation, that you can officially communicate with governments. That as a Keshe Foundation, Togo, Ghana, and Nigeria and Kenya, as an African continent, you're finding solution for African area. this will bring a lot. We can come in, you have the Universal Council, French-speaking, English-speaking, to be supporting the move, to be part of it, to be part of the negotiation, and you can move very fast. Within 3 to 5 days, you can move very rapid. Don't wait somebody else to do it. Nobody will do it because the only thing they'll do is sell guns and killing more.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Are you aware that there is in South Africa, there's at the end of September, there is a movement started to create the Nation of Goodwill, or Good Hope, I think it is, Good Hope. And this is a tribal leader who is trying to come in with to create a new kingdom in South Africa, and it reminded me very much of what Alex was talking about there. So if anyone interested, have a look at this. He is actually he has the bloodline. He's the king of the original tribe of South Africa, and they're trying to do a reclaim of the nation. So anyone out there in Africa, take a look at this. It's the Nation of Goodwill, I think it is, or Good Hope.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone for today. This is the beginning first session of the what you call the Earth Council, Universal Council meeting. It cannot be only on Tuesday. We can meet again. And then we meet again on Sunday.
Sorry, we missed the last sentence you said there, Mr. Keshe. We can meet again when?
It's good to meet on Thursday again in the afternoon.
I think you're trying to say Thursday in the afternoon. That'll be the Knowledge Seekers Workshop. That's all we heard.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We just heard you say something about Thursday afternoon. I'm assuming you mean the Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Hello? Hello, Mr. Keshe? Are you bounced out again? Not hearing you there. Hello? We'll just wait a minute. I'm sure.
Rick.
Oh, hello.
Rick. Hello, I'm sorry. We're on the move, so when we drop out, we will pop back in. Just give us a few minutes.
Are we going to continue today, or are we complete for today?
No, we can complete for today. Mr. Keshe's message was that maybe we might meet again Thursday afternoon. At 6 o'clock.
I still couldn't hear that. I think you said at 6 o'clock.
And Sunday. Okay. We will announce, we will make the links available. They will be the same links as now, and they will be decided. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what days,
yes,
days and time. I think you said Thursday at 6 p.m. CEST.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock p.m. Central European time, and maybe on Sunday again on 6 p.m. Central European time. So 2 hours later than we are meeting today. They will have the same numbers as the public teachings with the same title.
Okay. And the same title of One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace?
Yes, yes. It's just the extra additions from the today teaching.
From now on, it just should have a date. That's all.
From now on, it has the title of One Nation, One Planet, and it always has the same number, so people don't need to search for numbers. They are the public presentation numbers. And we will announce them in advance to discuss. And on Thursday teaching, it will be repeated again, that later on in the afternoon at 6 p.m. Central European time, we will reoccur a new meeting.
Okay, very good.
So we can close down, and thank you very much. Thank you all knowledge seekers.
Can I ask Alex and Alex and Paul and Benjamin and English and French-speaking members of the council and Dr. Goto from Kenya, if we can meet tomorrow on an emergency meeting, anytime you choose is good for us.
Okay, was that message received? Any confirmation there?
Did you get the message?
We will post it in the council.
We'll post it back on the council meeting too today immediately.
Okay.
The members will meet tomorrow. We meet every day if need be regarding Togo and with the disaster zone in the Caribbeans, in Puerto Rico and other islands to find a solution that we can work on and see what we can do.
Mr. Keshe, this is Tom again.
Yes.
If you would like me to go down to Dominica, which is a country I can get into,
Has Dominica been hit again?
Dominica is 90% destroyed right now. Is absolutely.
Go back in like last time. I back you.
Okay. So just get Carolina to message me and we can.
Okay, no problem. We support you. Done a beautiful job, and I thank you for it last time. You know the train. I support you the same as before.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We can close for today.
I'll stay in touch with you, Tom, in the background, and with Ursula and the other team members.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. I'm around.
Is there some way that people that are listening can donate to a particular project they might be interested in, say Dominique or Puerto Rico or whatever it happens?
Everything goes to the foundation account.
If you go
and PayPal through, but say which account.
Go to the Keshe Foundation Direct, that we can support the team members going in. So it goes direct to the people which are available to go into these disaster zones. So don't make it difficult for nobody. You can go through PayPal, you can go through bank account and donate direct to the foundation, so it can go to the people which are going to start traveling.
And maybe people can include a note as to what they wish it to go towards or whatever.
No problem.
That's no problem.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that winds it up for today's 10th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. And stay tuned for the Knowledge Seekers Workshop coming up on Thursday. As well as there's the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group that I host every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. Wednesday in European time.
I just also wanted to add there, Rick, that on the USA store there is a donate via PayPal button,
but not on the other store, I guess.
Right, it's on the USA website as well. So usa.keshefoundation.org, and you can get to that right away.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ben.
Or they can donate directly into the Keshe Foundation in Holland. There is something has to be said. In Keshe Foundation, we support through our own ways and means. whatever people support is addition to what will be given to on top of what we do. We don't wait for other people to come in to support. As you heard last week, Alex has set up a project in Nigeria because I know how important that is. And within hours, within literally days, the funds which was requested was transferred by the foundation. We are not poverty-stricken or what they're trying to claim for us to be. We are very ethical, very correct, and whatever you support will go on to them. We don't rely on other people to support us that we might support. So this understanding has to be there. We are here to help each other in every way and means from one to another, and we will succeed, and we are succeeding in a very good way. What is interesting has been in my head in the past couple of hours online is we can use our influences because of the situations that others created to damage us, has given us the position to be in a position to help and change positions, if you understand what I mean. Situation in Ghana with this, when we asked the president and the minister to join us to support, brings a lot of credibility for our work internationally as one nation. In working with disaster zones on the same, this is not the beginning of or the last time. This will last long, but we have to establish ourselves as an alternative structure, as one nation, one government, coming internationally to do it, and move on to the next project. This is the life, it's a reality we have to face. United States, Africa, Middle East, China, we are in a dynamic planet. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you, team, and good night. And I hope we can go out.
With some music, I think you were trying to say.
Yes.
Yes,
You
I
got
agree.
my word.
You
Thank
hope
you.
we can go out, and that's all we heard.
Go
Okay.
up with an uplifted soul with pleasure, because that
Okay.
gives you the energy to see and to gather more energy.
Yes, enough to make it to the next workshop.
Yes, Rick. I have my students complaining that you really are early birds in the morning teaching, and they're really trying to be in all the teachings, and they don't want to miss any of them. So I do appreciate all the knowledge seekers for their attention and their presence, but especially for all the teachers and all the technical people in the background which are working around the clock. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the councils and the core team for your presence. Good night.
Very good. Thank you, Caroline. And thank you, of course, Mr. Keshe, for all that you do. Okay, well, let's wrap it up for today. As mentioned, for the 10th One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace. And I think Flint is ready for our musical interlude to take it out. And thank you, everybody, for attending today. Okay, Flint.